Hey everybody, Luke Gordon here. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, all about sleep and how to improve your sleep. And when it comes to improving your sleep, there's actually a lot of good advice online. So if you do a quick Google search, you get a whole list of things you can do to improve your sleep. And that advice is really good. But there's also 4 other things that I think you can really target to improve your sleep that doesn't come up on the kind of the generic list of things. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all about those 4 things and how you can use them in addition to the other good advice to hopefully improve your sleep. So we'll get into those 4 things in just a second. I did kind of want to just go down the existing good advice really briefly first though, because again, there are a lot of good takeaways. And the biggest thing with sleep, of course, is that if you can take advantage of multiple tips, consistently over time, that's going to really help you. So again, let me just go through the list. I've got it pulled up over here. If you do a quick Google search on your computer, it'll kick this out for you. The first one is that you want to have a consistent sleep schedule. Of course, that's great. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every night. That helps a lot. And again, I'm going to go through quick on these, and I'll spend more time on the 4 after I go through quickly. So if it seems like I'm speed talking, that's why. The other one is avoiding electronics before bed, at least an hour before bed. I think it's great to turn off your TV, turn off your phone, stop watching YouTube videos, things like that. Avoid like caffeine, especially in the second half of the day, afternoon. Caffeine can really delay your ability to fall asleep. It has an interesting impact on how your melatonin is picked up by your receptors. So avoiding caffeine is a good one. Sleep environment, dark room, quiet room, using white noise, a cool room. All that stuff is pretty good overall to help you sleep. A bedtime routine, having a consistent routine. So not only going to bed at a certain time every night and waking up at a certain time every morning, but having a consistent routine for how you get into bed, with low stimulation type things, reading a book, meditating, doing some breath work, things like that. That's great. The next tip, of course, that you'll find pretty consistently is exercise. Exercising during the day, not right before bed, typically has a very positive impact on your ability to sleep. So that's great. Limiting naps, unless you're one of those people that is lucky enough to take a power nap and feel refreshed. I think for most of us, naps just kind of mess us up. They mess up our rhythm. So unless you're one of the ones that have figured out how to nap and then also sleep well at night, which great for you, naps usually will negatively impact your good night's sleep. And then eating well, that's what I'm going to target here in one of my 4. It just says eating well, right? One of those things is not snacking right before bed. That's all good advice, but the whole eating well advice I find is very misleading at times. So we'll get into that as one of my 4. And then it says natural sleep aids here. So we won't go into that, but some of the like different types of teas, herbs, and things like that. So now that you have that big laundry list that you can find anywhere pretty much on Google or YouTube, it's all solid advice. It all works if you can do it consistently. Let's talk about 4 things that maybe you haven't heard about yet. And the first one, in all the advice I looked at like on Google, and I didn't do a quick or a thorough YouTube search, but there's not a whole lot about breathing on there. And I think breathing is one of the ones that you could really use to your advantage. So that's my first one. So breathing, and specifically breathing through your nose. So I just read a really good book called Breath by James Nestor, I believe is the author's name. I don't have it here to show you, but really good, interesting book about breathing and the importance of breathing through your nose. And so this tip, it's gonna help you sleep, but there's a few wrinkles to it that I wanna throw out at you. So the first wrinkle is realizing that most of us breathe through our mouths way too often. I'm probably breathing through my mouth during this entire video because I haven't figured out how to do it through my nose while I'm talking that well. Excuse me. But breathing through your nose is very important. So breathing through your mouth less just during the day is a great way to start to open up your airways at night. And so if you can sleep breathing through your nose at night as opposed to breathing through your mouth, you're gonna sleep better. And they've got research to back this up. This isn't just my opinion. You will sleep better. So first thing you can do with this philosophy or this approach is start breathing through your nose more often during the day, just when you're awake and conscious of it. Breathe through your nose then. The other thing that I wanted to mention with this is that chewing, actually chewing your food really thoroughly during the day has a positive impact on your airways and your sinuses. So the more you can get used to chewing, and it just basically, it has a positive effect on the positioning of your jaw. So if you can do more chewing, like of food or like a firm gum, and just more nose breathing through the day, that's something that can really positively affect your sleep. Some other interesting tips from that book is that there are like those, breathe right type nose strips that help a lot of people sleep. And then there are certain dental appliances that you can look into for improving your airway flow to your nose at night. That can help too. And then one interesting thing that they mentioned was mouth taping, which for someone like me with a beard, I haven't tried it yet, but I've got a good friend who does it. He's a naturopath. He wears like his sleep ring, and so he shaves his face so that he can tape his mouth shut at night. Sounds really strange, but in the book, there's very good evidence for this working for people. And then according to my friend, every time he does this at night, which isn't every night, he sleeps much better. So kind of a weird tip you probably haven't heard of. So there's your first one. Do some things to improve your nasal breathing at night, open up your airways, open up your sinuses, and that'll actually have a positive impact on your entire system. So that's number one. Number two is very specific to physical therapy, because what I never found on these tips, on Google and the AI generated results that it pops out nowadays, I didn't hear anyone talking about the fact that a lot of people don't sleep well because they're constantly moving around and waking up because they're in pain. So number two then for me is, if there are some things you can do to get rid of your musculoskeletal pain, like your sore shoulder or your sore low back, or that nerve pain that goes down your leg if you don't move and roll around every 30 to 60 minutes. If there's things you can do to improve that, then you are going to sleep better. So again, that sounds kind of dumb, but I'm PT. I think about this stuff all the time. But if you can have less pain at night, you will sleep better. So that might mean, going to see your physical therapist or your massage therapist or your acupuncturist or your chiropractor, or doing more stretching, or doing more strengthening, whatever it is that helps you feel better. Or maybe you've got a hot tub, or you do saunas and cold plunges, whatever it is, or natural anti-inflammatory, stuff like that. Do more of that. Do more of the things that make you feel better and have less pain, and that will help you sleep. And that's leading right into number three then, okay? So number three on my list is that whole thing about a healthy diet. And man, I'm making another video about this soon. There's a lot of horrible advice when it comes to what a healthy diet actually is, and specifically what's going to help you sleep better at night. So you're going to get 100 different opinions on this from 100 different people. But what I will say is that people don't really appreciate how standard advice for a healthy diet, which usually includes things like dairy and whole grains and all these things, a lot of these foods are inflammatory, okay? So if you look at different diets, like one of my favorite is like the Whole30 or a paleo diet, which again isn't going to work for everybody, but for a lot of people that's my favorite one, because it focuses you on real food. It focuses you on high quality proteins, high quality fats, vegetables, fruits. That's about it. We take out things like dairy. We take out things like grains, especially if they're highly processed and refined. We take out things like sugars. If you can take these things out over a consistent level of time, not only will you most likely lose weight if that's one of your goals, but you will sleep better. And the reason you will sleep better is because what diets like Whole30 and Paleo do, and what they do really well, is they take out a lot of inflammatory foods. And so how do inflammatory foods negatively affect your sleep? Well, first of all, if you go back to number two on my list, they make you feel bad. You get sore, you get musculoskeletal pain. So that's one positive attribute to it. But the other thing that people I don't think really appreciate is that over time, these inflammatory foods are affecting your gut, and they're affecting your hormones. They're affecting your body's sense of well-being. They're affecting every aspect of your health. And if you can get rid of them, those things will all improve. Your system will be improved. You will have less stress in your system. You will have better hormone balances for things like insulin and things like cortisol, if you've heard of cortisol. Kind of like your stress hormone, right? So if you have less stress and less inflammation in your system, and you can do that over a period of time, you will sleep better. So that's number three. Take it seriously when they say, oh yeah, eat a balanced diet or eat a healthy diet. Take it to another level. I mean, if you're ready for that and you can do that, take it to another level and eat really healthy and see how much better you sleep. I guarantee it'll work. Okay, so that's number three. Number four then just kind of feeds off of that one, is that usually, that wasn't on the list at the beginning of the video, but usually they'll say something like don't drink too much alcohol, or only stop drinking an hour before bed or 2 hours before bed or something like that. What I will say for number four is alcohol is probably more important than you think in terms of you shouldn't be drinking it. Okay, no one wants to hear that. You don't want to hear it from me. You don't want to hear it from your spouse, whatever. Even one drink will negatively affect your sleep. Even one drink 3 to 4 to 5 hours before you fall asleep will negatively affect your sleep. Specifically, it's going to rob you of REM sleep. So REM is that rapid eye movement. That's what REM stands for. That's when you're dreaming. So if you've ever read about your sleep cycles, you have like kind of the shallower stages of sleep, then you go into deep sleep, and then you kind of come back up into REM sleep. And throughout the night, you cycle. And on a good night, you should have probably 5 full cycles or so. There's a really good book called Why We Sleep that talks all about the sleep research, talks about alcohol, talks about all of these things. Really fascinating research they do on things like this. But basically, again, even you might think alcohol helps you relax, and maybe it does, but even a small amount of alcohol before you sleep is going to negatively affect your sleep. So if you're kind of on the fence and you're like, well, I don't really need alcohol, I just drink it, because I'm used to it, it's habitual. If you can cut that out, it might not be as easy to fall asleep at first if you're used to having it help you fall asleep, but over time, your quality of sleep will be much better. So again, the advice about alcohol, I think, is just too soft. I think you need to look it straight in the face and say, even though it's a socially acceptable thing to drink alcohol on a daily basis, it will not help your sleep. And if you get rid of it, it will. So there you go. That was a longer video. I know I just talked about 4 things, but I hope this helps you. In addition to the other sleep tips that are out there, these 4 I hope really help you. And before you go, if you have figured out ways to improve your sleep, I would love to just have you leave a comment before you go, and let me know too what you think of this advice. Is it good advice? Is it, am I overdoing it or overstressing the importance of any of those 4 things? So let me know before you go. Appreciate your comment. Appreciate you like and subscribe, all those good things. And keep looking out for more videos related to physical therapy and health and weight loss and all those good things. Thanks for watching. That's it for now.